Let's learn how to play Mega Lopunny with Dusknoir, also known as Dust Bunny, Bunny Bomb, whatever you want to call it. In this video, we're going to go over the deck list, explanation of the cards, some test hand, and a gameplay on Pokemon TCG Live. By the way, if you guys are new here, hi, my name is Win, also known as Royal Illis. We do a lot of Pokemon TCG content here on this channel, so if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Alright, let's start off with the deck list. I also have all the timestamp right down below if you want to skip around the video. For the Pokemon, we have 2 Buneary, 2 Mega Lopunny Ex, 4 Duskull, 2 Dusclops, 3 Dusknoir, 1 Pidgey, 1 Pidgeotto, 1 Pidgeot EX, 2 Budew, 1 Ditto, 1 Mega Kangaskhan EX, 1 Latias EX, 1 Fezandipiti EX, 1 Klefki, and 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. For the supporter, we have 4 Lily's Determination, 3 Hildas, 2 Iono, and 2 Boss's Order. For the items, we have 4 Buddy Puffins, 2 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Rare Candy, 2 Switch, 2 Night Stretcher, and 1 Counter Catcher. For the stadium, we have 1 Jamming Tower. For the energies, we have 1 Enriching Energy, and 4 Jet Energies. And here's the overview of the deck. Now let's go over every single card and why it's in here. First off, we have Mega Lopunny EX. This will be your main attacker of the deck. We're mainly going to be using the first attack, but the second attack can come in handy sometimes. The first attack costs 1 colorless energy and does 60 damage. But if it was moved from your bench to the active spot during the turn, the attack does 170 more damage. 230 damage for 1 energy is pretty crazy, and it's pretty easy to move to the active spot as well. The second attack costs 2 colorless energy, does 160 damage, and the attack isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So the attack can go through cards like Crusto and Mimikyu. Next we have your Dusknoir line. I'm going to talk about the Dusclops and the Dusknoir. Both of them have similar abilities. Let's talk about Dusclops first. Once during your turn, you may put 5 damage counter to one of your opponent's Pokemon. But if you use this ability, the Pokemon is knocked out. Dusknoir has the same ability, except you put 13 damage counters instead of 5. So if you combine Mega Lopunny with a Dusknoir, you're doing 360 damage. That is a lot. And the goal of this deck is to board wipe your opponent, so having multiple Dusknoir is not bad at all. Next we have Pidgeot EX. It's mainly there for the ability, which states once during your turn, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. This card is extremely useful. Usually if I'm able to set this up, I usually win the game. And if you need to, you can also attack with it. For 2 colorless energy, it does 120 damage. And you get to discard the stadium in play. I also want to mention that we're running 1 Pidgeotto as well. Even though we run 4 rare candies, sometimes we do get item lock, which means we cannot get into Pidgeot without Pidgeotto. Speaking of item lock, we're also running Budew in this deck. For 0 energy, it does 10 damage and your opponent cannot use items their next turn. Not to mention it has a free retreat cost as well. What I actually like to do if I'm going second is actually get this Budew out, item lock your opponent, and then next turn hopefully blow up their board with Dusknoir and then attack with Mega Lopunny. Next we have Ditto, which is only here for the ability as well, which states once during your first turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, you may search your deck and choose the basic Pokemon you find there, except Ditto, and replace it with this Ditto. But you do have to discard all attached cards. So yes, this only works your first turn, but you can get out whatever Pokemon you need, which most of the time I find myself getting out Mega Kangaskhan EX. This will be one of your draw engine of the deck, thanks to the ability which states, once during your turn, this Pokemon's in the active spot, you get to draw 2 cards. I have yet to attack with this, but if you have, let me know in the comments. Next we have Latias EX. We're going to be using the ability as well, which states your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat costs. This will be one of the ways to move Mega Lopunny to the active spot. Next we have Fezandipiti EX, also there for the ability, which states, once during your turn, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your last turn, you get to draw 3 cards. Just some more draw support. Moving on to Klefki, another supporting Pokemon, that has the ability that states, as long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, basic Pokemon in play both yours and your opponent have no abilities. This is mainly here to deal with Psyduck, since Psyduck can stop your Dusknoir line completely. So if your opponent has a Psyduck, bring this to the active and start blowing up their board. And last but not least, we have Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, which will be an attacker to close off the game. For 5 energy, it does 240 damage, but during your next turn, this Pokemon can attack. You might be thinking 5 energy is a lot, but if you take a look at the ability that states, the attack costs 1 less energy for each prize card your opponent has taken. And we're literally giving our opponent free prize card with these Dusknoirs and Dusclops. So this Bloodmoon can actually attack faster than you think. Moving on to the supporters now. Lily's Determination will be your main draw engine of this deck. It lets you shuffle your hand into the deck and draw 6 cards. But if you still have exactly 6 prize cards remaining, you actually draw 8 instead. Next we have Hilda. Hilda lets you search for an evolution Pokemon and an energy card and add it to your hand. Iono lets you disrupt your opponent's hand and draw some cards. You can give your opponent some prize card with Dusknoir and Dusclops and then Iono them to basically nothing. And last but not least, Boss's Order lets you switch from your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active. Moving on to the items. Buddy Puffin lets you search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or lower and add it to the bench. Nest Ball lets you search your deck for a basic Pokemon and add it to the bench. Ultra Ball lets you search deck for any Pokemon and add it to your hand. But you have to discard 2 cards. These are all the cards to help establish your board. Rare Candy lets you skip an evolution. So you have Rare Candy, you go from Duskull all the way to Dusknoir without Dusclops. Another example would be Pidgey all the way to Pidgeot without Pidgeotto. Switch lets you switch one of your bench Pokemon to the active spot. Just another way to move Mega Lopunny to the active so that way you can use the first attack. Night Stretcher lets you put a Pokemon or a basic energy from the discard pile back into your hand. It's always good to have some recycling card. Counter Catcher lets you switch from your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot, but you have to have more prizes than your opponent. A little tip, you can always pop your Dusknoir and not knock anything out, so that way Counter Catcher is now active. Moving on to the stadium, which we're only running 1, Jamming Tower. Pokemon tools attached to each Pokemon, both yours and your opponent, have no effect. A lot of the meta decks have tools right now, so it's really good to shut them down. And lastly, let's quickly go over the energy. First off, we have Enriching Energy. This is another draw support for this deck, because whenever you attach this energy to a Pokemon, you get to draw 4 cards. And lastly, we have Jet Energy. Whenever you attach this energy from one of your bench Pokemon, switch that Pokemon with your active Pokemon. Once again, another way to move Mega Lopunny to the active spot to use the first attack. And that's all the cards in the deck. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know in the comments. Before we we move on to the next section, I just want to give a big thank you to my channel members. You guys are honestly so awesome. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. If you want to become a channel member and get some extra perks, make sure you click on this join button right down here below. Moving on to test hand, we're going to have one for going first and one for going second. For this deck, I find that it doesn't matter if you go first or second. If you go first, just establish your board. If you go second, just Budew them, and then they cannot use any items. But yes, let's move on to the test hands. Jumping into our first test hand, this will be for going first. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you want to go first or second. With this specific list, since we are running 2 Budew, going second is probably the better way. I do like going second. I've been testing this out at my locals, and I do prefer to go second most of the time, especially if we get item lock ourselves, so that way at least if we go second, we have more chances to set up our board. But regardless, we are going first for this hand. Let's offer our opponent if they want to cut or tap. We're going to pretend to be our opponent, cut our deck, and let's draw our 7 to start out this turn. And we have a Budew and a Klefki and a Pidgey. So depending on the matchup, I will most likely put out the Budew for any normal matchup. But if we're up against some sort of deck that runs a lot of basic that has ability, for example, Fan Rotom, are usually in Terra Box. Now it's in Zard, Terra Zard. There's a good amount of deck that does use Fan Rotom. So if that's the case, you put out the Klefki, stop their opponent from setting up. So I think I will most likely put out the Budew here. We're going to pretend like it's a generic deck, any other deck. But like I said, if the deck, your opponent's deck is running Fan Rotom or some sort of like even like a Latias is in the active, put this down so that way they're kind of stuck for a turn. And this is actually a pretty good start. Let's do our prizes. For the sake of the video, I'm going to put it face up. That way we can see and we don't waste your time and my time deck checking. Ooh, we prized our Latias and our Pidgeotto and the Fez, but that's not too bad. That's not the end of the world. Anyways, let's start off the turn. We have the Budew here, draw for our hand. We're going to for sure put up the Pidgey, and then we're going to do Buddy Foffin here to get out most likely a Duskull and a Buneary here. Actually, there's a world we actually just get out a Ditto. I'm down to get out the Ditto here. So I'm gonna do Buneary and a Ditto. So we can even draw more cards with Mega Kangaskhan. Where is our Ditto? I'm gonna put this up here. Here's our Ditto. So we're gonna get out these two, and then we are going to retreat into our Mega Kangaskhan. And then we're going to shuffle our deck before we use this Nest Ball. This Nest Ball will most likely get out Duskull if you don't get out any other cards from this Mega Kangaskhan draw. We just want to have a little more draw support, of course. So we shuffle a little bit there. One more mash. Oop, my card is falling everywhere. All right. Now let's draw 2 with our Mega Kangaskhan, so 1, 2, and we hit the Buddy Foffin, which is exactly what we were looking for. So we don't have to use the Nest Ball for now. We're gonna play the Buddy Foffin, get out 2 Duskull for sure here to start blowing things up next turn. So now we get our Duskull down, and this is kind of like the standard board you want, kind of 2 Duskull, Pidgey, a Buneary, and then the other spots are kind of flex. I like to have the Mega Kangaskhan just to draw some more. Budew, and then sometimes you do have to put down the Latias EX, but it's prized at the moment. So yeah, that is kind of it for our first turn. Actually, I would actually slam down this Jamming Tower. Depending on the matchup, a lot of decks run TM Evo, so if we can slam this down, prevents them from using TM Evo or even Turbo Energize. They have to find a stadium to bump it. But for next turn, we still have the Mega Kangaskhan in the active, so we can draw some more there. We can evolve our Duskull to a Dusclops, and of course, whatever else we draw with the Mega Kangaskhan will be our options. We gotta find a way to retreat next turn into the Budew if we can't do anything else. But yeah, that is it for our first test hand for going first. Jumping into our second test hand, this will be for going second, which, like I said, with this specific list, since I'm running 2 Budew, is probably the preferred way to play this deck. But like I said, going first is still not that bad. Now that we shuffle a little bit, let's offer our opponent to cut once again. And then let's draw our 7 to start out this turn. There's 6 there, so let's draw. This is be our 7. We got 1 Buneary, but we do have a lot of supporter in our hand and a Nest Ball, so not too bad. Let's do our prizes here. So got Pidgeotto, Jet, Enriching, and our Pidgey is prize. That is very unfortunate and prizing, in my opinion. But let's start out our second turn here, going first. Draw for turn. So we have the Pidgeot in hand, but we have no Pidgey in deck. So I think regardless, we're always going to do the nest ball first here. And most likely, I feel like for this nest ball, I'm going to grab out Latias. So that way we can retreat into a Budew if we need to. That's probably the most important card to have, especially with the current board state in my hand. The Latias is right here. We're going to put down the Latias. And then nothing else we can do from this hand. So all we can do is just use Lily's Determination. And of course, once I use the nest ball, I was going to deck check to see if my enriching energy is there. If we did not have the Lily's Determination, that would be our route. But good thing we do have the Lily's Determination, or else we would have literally nothing we can really do. So shuffle this a little bit. Hopefully we don't draw into the same card. Sometimes when I play Lily's Determination, I always draw into the same few cards that we already had. And that's just very unfortunate shuffling, I guess. But here is our 8 card here. Draw 8. We got the Mega Kangaskhan, we got Poffins. Pretty good, pretty good. I don't think we put down the Mega Kangaskhan at this moment. Right now we're just gonna use the Buddy Poffin just to thin out our deck and get set up. Most likely gonna get out Budew and a Duskull. But we're actually, instead of getting the Budew, we're gonna get out the Ditto. Therefore, we thin out the deck and we can still get our Ditto. So I'm gonna retreat, free retreat, turn the Ditto into the Budew. If we wanted to, we could Ultra Ball. We could Ultra Ball away to try to get another Duskull to set up. I think I'm gonna do that. Since we have Lily's Determination and Iono, I might be down to just Ultra Ball away this Mega Kangaskhan and the rare candy. Let's do that. For the sake of the video, just to set up another Duskull here. So that way we have a little more board established. So we can potentially pop more Dusknoir next turn and knock a lot more things out. And yeah, that's all we can really do. So we're just gonna attack with Itchy Pollen. Our opponent cannot use items their next turn if they don't have a board fully set up. Next turn, we do have the rare candy that we can use for this Dusknoir to evolve to the Duskull. We can pop it in Iono, or we can just Lily's Determination and see what else we can get before we pop the card. But yeah, that is it for our second test hand for going second.
Now let's check out gameplay on Pokemon TCG Live.
As we jump into the gameplay here, if you guys are still around and you find my content helpful, make sure you smash the like button. It really does help out the YouTube algorithm. It looks like our opponent won the coin flip, so they get to decide if they want to go first or second. And it looks like we get to go second, so that's pretty good, which means we're just going to try our best to set up the Budew here. And we have a Ditto start. Okay, we put the Ditto. I wanted to put the Mega Kangaskhan, but Ditto is probably better just to have it up front. We can always just get the Ditto turn into Budew. But let's see what we're up against, though. It's a Duskull, so it could be Dragapult, could be Zard, could be Mirror. So let's see what this Buddy Poffin gets us. It's a Fan Rotom and Charmander. If I knew that, I would have start the Klefki, because this Klefki would stop this Fan Rotom ability from going off right now. And they're getting Pidgey, Pidgeotto, and a Hoot Hoot. So they got a little bit of everything. If only we started the Klefki, they would probably have nothing, just a Charmander. So I'm gonna put out the Latias, put up the Mega Kangaskhan, and put down this Duskull here, and just Iono. There's a world we can Ultra Ball, but I think I'll just Iono and pray for the best here, because we still have the Ditto. And we'll hit Buneary and a Buddy Poffin. So I'm actually gonna put the Buddy Poffin to use to get just a Pidgey. Down just for the Pidgey. We're gonna place the Buneary down here, and then we're gonna use Ditto to turn into Budew. I really want to draw with Mega Kangaskhan, but there's no other way for us to double retreat. So Budew will just have to do for now. And since we're up against Charizard, they have to rare candy, and we just Iono them. They're in Hoot Hoot, or no, they got a Pidgeotto, no Hoot Hoot, or no Noctowl, I mean. Okay, they're using Dawn. They are item locked, but this was the Zard list that won Stuttgart Regional recently. With Dawn, you can just use it even when you're item locked. It's pretty broken. They're grabbing Terrapagos. Zard, and a Pidgeotto. Now they got Terrapagos down. So at least they have a Terra type Pokemon, so that way they can use their Noctowl. But they're just gonna end their turn anyways. So I'm gonna evolve my Pidgeot here. And I didn't really prize check earlier. Hopefully we have the Enrichen energy here. So if we have Hilda, we always get the Enrichen to draw some more. And I'm down to get the Mega Lopunny here. Because I might just, if I don't hit the rare candy from the this +4 here, we didn't hit it. So I'm probably going to use Pidgeot's ability to get out the rare candy. I want to pop that Charmander. Prevent them from playing the game a little bit. I'm just going to deck check now. Actually, I'm actually going to pop the Pidgeotto. Because we still have another turn. Right? If they get Pidgeot EX, it's harder to knock out. And they get whatever card they want, right? So I'm going to pop the Pidgeotto, I think. Because they still have to evolve into a Charmeleon. So we're good. They're not going to attack anytime soon. They might attack with Fan Rotom, though. Okay, they took their prize. We take a prize. Jamming Tower, not too bad of a card. Put down another Duskull, ready for next turn. We got the Mega Lopunny here. And then we'll put the Jamming Tower down as well. And let's Budew them again. Item locking them. So that means Zard's not coming out anytime soon, but they could attack with Fan Rotom. Maybe putting the Jamming Tower is incorrect. Alright, yeah, they have a Jet Energy to bring up Fan Rotom. Jamming Tower was incorrect. Maybe they have a Stadium in hand anyways, but I don't think they use that much tool in this deck. So putting the Jamming Tower down is definitely incorrect here. But that's okay. I'm going to bring up the Mega Kangaskhan so that way we can draw some more cards. Our hand is pretty dead. Got a Dusclops. I'm going to pop in for probably just another Budew here. Because I'm down to just Budew again. Let's Mega Kangaskhan. Draw 2 here. We got a boss. Got a switch. I think I'm just going to evolve to a Dusclops. We still have time. They don't have a Charmeleon yet. Let's Pidgeot for something. I might just get like a Dusknoir here probably. Or I could get a supporter. But I think I'm just going to get the Dusknoir. I'm actually going to boss something up. I think the Terrapagos is a good boss here because there's 2 retreat costs. And then let's just retreat into our Budew. Item locking them again. And this is kind of how the deck kind of function. Or at least the way this build is. You just want to Budew lock them. Pop a bunch of stuff. And then once we're ready, we attack with Mega Lopunny EX. So our opponent's deciding to Iona us since they can't use any items. They're kind of just stuck there looking at their big hand. But Ionaing is fine. But they're Ionaing to only 4 cards. And we'll hit the Dusknoir here. Pretty good. And a supporter for Lilies. So I think my goal, if they attack with Fan Rotom. Okay, they got the Noctowl. But if they attack with Fan Rotom, then we have Counter Catcher play as well. So we can knock out both Charmander here. So Noctowl got them their rare candy and a Dawn. Alright. It's time to be annoying. Let's evolve our Dusknoir here. I'm going to have Pidgeot. Hopefully we have Counter Catcher in hand. Or in deck, I mean. I'm down to do the Counter Catcher here. Because we can still Lilies to get some more cards. We pop, we put the Duskull down. Then we can also jet up Mega Kangaskhan. Actually, no, we're going to start attacking this turn. Okay. Let me make sure I do everything this correctly. I'm going to Dusknoir one of the Charmander. And we're actually going to see what we get from the prize first. I might have misplayed there. I should have just Dusknoir first before I get something from Pidgeot. Okay, this is fine too. I'm going to put out on Duskull again. I'm going to Counter Catcher up the Charmander. And then I'm down to just retreat here. I want to save the Jet Energy, to be honest. So I'm going to Lily's Determination now. And we drew into a Jet again, a bunch and a boss. Pretty good stuff, I would say. So we're going to knock out this Charmander, preventing them from really doing anything. If they can't set up Zard, they can't play the game. All they have is their Fan Rotom, so they can knock out our Budew in the bench or a Duskull. But yeah, they're promoting the Fan Rotom here. Not sure what they can do at this point, to be honest. So they still have the Dawn and the rare candy in hand. They are not item locked at the moment.
Okay, they got Charmander, Dusclops, and a Pidgeot. Do they have some recovery card? Because that might be their only Charmander. Okay, they do have a nice stretcher. So they got their second Charmander here. Okay, they're just punching with 70. Now I think we can win. We can win from this. Okay, all I need is to get out a Dusknoir because we do have boss in hand. So we're gonna do Rare Candy, and then we're gonna Ultra Ball for the Dusknoir. We don't want to use this water. We do want to boss this turn. So we're gonna Ultra Ball for a Dusknoir here, and we're gonna pop one of his one prizer. Doesn't really matter because like I said, we're gonna win at this moment or at this turn. We're gonna pop this Charmander. That gives us one prize. They also take a prize, which is fine, but we know we can guarantee this game. So now we get our prize here. Don't need that. We're just gonna jet up something and just retreat later so Mega Lopunny can do 230. So we boss up the Terrapagos, which is 220 at the moment, but even if it didn't have damage, Mega Lopunny would still knock it out for a lot. So that is GG. I hope you guys kind of understand the game or how to operate this deck. But do them, stop them from setting up, blow things up, and then knock out with Mega Lopunny EX.
That is it for this deck guide, but don't forget to check out my other videos right over here. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.